Hi, friends. I'm glad you're here for the Kids Weekly Devotional. I hear you had a visitor last week. I'm so bummed I missed it. Maybe if I see you soon, you can tell me all about what John had to share. So, we are talking about the names of Jesus still. We've got a couple more weeks of this, and then we're going to go into an Easter series, and we'll see where it takes us. So, we're talking about the Lord our righteousness today, and we'll be in Jeremiah chapter 23 for our verse that's going to guide our story today. So, you can read along in Jeremiah. It's about halfway through the Bible. It's after Isaiah, which is a really big, long book. So if you find Isaiah, keep turning the pages and you'll find Jeremiah. So let's read together. Jeremiah 23, verses 5 and 6. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, and he shall reign as king and deal wisely, and shall execute justice and righteousness on the land. In his days, Judah will be saved, and Israel will dwell securely, and that is the name by which he will be called, the Lord our righteousness. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Lord our righteousness, but we're also going to talk about this image that Jeremiah uses of the tree, of a branch. And we've been talking about the Bible in a lot of different ways, and the Bible uses a ton of pictures to show things that help us understand God's word. And today, Jeremiah is using the image of a tree. So I've got a trunk on my board, and we're going to add some things to it. So Jeremiah was a prophet, and if you can brainstorm a little bit, think of a couple other people who were prophets in the Bible. Isaiah, Jonah was a prophet. There's many, many more. But Jeremiah was what we call the weeping prophet, and his life was not easy, but he did speak for God quite a bit. His book is not short. So in this part of Jeremiah's speak, he's using the image of a tree, which even in today's culture, we totally identify with trees. We live in the Northwest. There's trees everywhere. So the Bible is showing itself to be living and active in all cultures, and in so many ways, it's speaking the same to us today as it did to Jeremiah's hearers thousands of years ago. So, okay, think of a tree, and on a tree, there's a main trunk, which is kind of like the stem of a flower, right? It's kind of like the legs on our bodies. It's the thing that roots us to the ground, and it's usually the sturdiest part of the plant. So, and from it come a lot of other branches. So I'm going to add a little bit to my tree. Some really sturdy branches here. And then from those branches come even smaller branches, like this. And the branches start small, and then they grow and mature, and then they give life to some type of fruit or leaves at the ends. So each type of tree is going to have its own type of leaf. So if you go outside and you see a maple tree, your maple tree will have maple leaves. And I have an example right here. It's this kind that has kind of a five-pointed, almost like a hand. It usually has 5 lobes to it. And here's some more examples. So this one is a maple. You might see that on your maple syrup container at home. And then on this side, there's an oak leaf. And I don't really know exactly what kind this is, but these are pretty common leaves. Some of them might have little teeth on the end, but each tree is going to have its own type of leaf. And you can tell what type of tree something is by looking at its leaves and the way it's put together. So the branches come from the trunk. The trunk is in the water, is in the dirt, and it sucks up the nutrients and the water, and then it gets sunlight from above, and it grows, and it pushes out all that energy out to the branches, and then to the leaves, and then sometimes if there's fruit, like if you're looking at an apple tree, you will have apples on the ends around here. And then those apples in turn have seeds in them, and they can plant more apple trees. But where is all of this energy coming from? The trunk, right? So Jeremiah is using this image of a branch. And he says in Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6, "Behold, I will raise up for David a righteous branch, and he shall reign as king and deal wisely." So Jeremiah is using this image of a tree with branches to talk about Jesus, right? Jeremiah says that God will raise up a righteous branch for his people. And if you think that instead of branches or on a tree, think of Christ and the church. So who is the root of our church? What is our church founded on? Why do we come here on Sundays or worship online on Sundays? So that we can worship Jesus, right? So imagine that Jesus and God, because they're equal to one another, are the trunk. This is the root of who we are. From the root, we get our energy and our truth and our grace, and we are these branches coming out, right? So I might be one of these big branches, and then right now, my children might be one of these smaller branches. And then we make more leaves, we make fruit, but we're all connected to the righteous branch or the root, which is God. So in Jeremiah's time, Jesus hadn't come yet. Everybody was waiting for him or something to come save us from our sin. And Jeremiah prophesies, which is telling of Jesus. Jeremiah prophesies to that there will be somebody, something who will come and be the best branch on our tree of God, our tree of believers. So we know living now that that branch was Jesus, but Jeremiah's hearers were still waiting. And we're kind of in a similar situation where we're waiting for that righteous branch to come back and defeat sin in real time. Jesus has defeated sin, and we can live a life that is clean because of Jesus, but we're still kind of waiting. This is what we call that already not yet that we're going to talk about every now and then. So if you think about it, we are like a tree, like a family tree almost. And here are all the branches in our family tree, and we make fruit or leaves, which will make new trees, but we are all connected to this one trunk that is God, that is Jesus, his son. And because we are connected to the trunk of the tree of God, we can go forward and live as though we are connected because we are a tree, and we've been raised by this branch of righteousness that saved us, that the branch of righteousness went to a tree because Jesus died on a tree. The branch of righteousness went to a tree and died so that we can be connected to the trunk of God. I'm really glad that you were here today. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, whether it's online or in person with a mask. And I hope that you have a great week, friends. I'll see you later.